Sometimes you just want to play something really short and really funky, but that requires a few techniques that you might not know how to do. I'm going to show you a little bit of the basics on slap and pop, slap being and pop being that kind of sound. And mixing those two things together with a cool riff, maybe in minor pentatonic, creates this funky sound. So this first step is just the notes without any of the extra slaps or the pull-off stuff. That's basically the main riff. That's the riff over E. We'll spend most of the time learning that because the other two riffs over B7 and over A follow the same principles and same right-hand techniques, left-hand techniques also. So it'll be easier to jump into those once we can do this. To add that funky stuff, you gotta add slaps and pops. If you take a look at just the right hand now, you'll see where we have the pops, which means kind of pulling these notes, often with a pull-off or a hammer-on. And a slap is where you bring the thumb down to play a slap sound percussion plus the note. So we're putting both of those in this riff. We're going bass, so in those first four notes, this is where you get most of that action in. So let's loop that phrase. So it sounds like this. So see how we have the bass, then pop, then a slap to that open string. Now the pop, pretty easy to do. You're just taking your finger and pulling, just giving it a little bit more oomph than you normally would. Okay? But the slap's gonna take some extra attention. What you wanna do here is when we're playing that note, when we're playing that slap note, the second fret of the A string, what you'll notice is that you have to hit your thumb on the side part of this thumb right here, like that. Okay? So if you take that side part of your thumb and you go really fast, what's happening in slow motion, we're going down, striking the string with the side part of the thumb, and then the thumb rests on the next string. Now, ideally, you'd want it to rest on the next adjacent string like that. Okay, so sometimes the slap will be down here, sometimes it'll be on the A string. So this motion by itself, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time just trying to get that motion down by itself. Once you can get that down, put it in context of just these first four notes like this. Now, once you can get those first four notes, the rest of it, I think, is gonna be a piece of cake for you because the rest of the slaps just come completely by themselves. So the only time you're actually ever slapping with the note is just on that second fret one. So right at the first four notes. Some people with the pop, I wanna mention this too, sometimes it feels more comfortable to use your middle finger. The slap comes in the most on the lowest D string, and then the second most on the A string. When you start moving the thumb down to these higher strings, it's not as loud. On the D string, you can hear it here, A string there, E string, definitely the loudest. So try to aim for the E or the A strings or even both when you want to get that slap in between the notes. If you can get those first four notes in, the rest of it is not that hard. So here's the slow of the main riff, the first four bars. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that brings us into the second part of the riff. So let's back it up to measure 4. Right when we do the there's a variation at the end to get up to that B7 chord. It sounds like this. So it's going to that A string to lead to this B7 chord. Once you're here, just form this B7 with your left hand, just these 3 fingers, and then we're gonna do this riff. So pulling out both these, all the fingers. The A is exactly the same riff. Everything feels exactly the same with the right hand, but the left hand, we're just pulling off those two strings for A. And then go back to the main riff. 2, 3, 4. And then you start the whole thing over. You can just repeat this indefinitely. So this one we plugged into an 8-bar blues because I wanted to keep it short and funky, and the 8-bar progression just seemed appropriate for this type of funky riff. Adding these slaps and things like that help keep the groove going. It helps keep you in time. If you're not used to playing with a metronome, this is a great thing to do to help improve your rhythm. So have fun playing around with this one. I certainly love playing the style. It's really uplifting and it's a fun way to play. It's actually not that hard once you get it under your fingers. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all on the next one. All right, so the full speed playthrough is about at 106. I think you could probably take it all the way up to maybe 120, or I think it probably could sound pretty cool, even slower around 90. But the full speed, what I played at the beginning was around 106. For the slow playthrough, let's do it at 60 BPM, which sounds like this. 2, 3, 4. Turn it up all the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where I would start over again.